Hello. So of course, pile 3, it had to come with some, y'all were the video that I cut out on, and I literally knew that was going to happen. So sorry that you had to click over to an extra video, but here's the second part of your reading. And we were just going in about of course I had shuffled, but I mentioned the Ace of Wands. I said the Ace of Swords, but I meant the Ace of Wands. But I was saying you came into this life to kind of recharge and rebuild what you let go of. So I just rewatched that, and of course I had gone a little bit before the video cut off, so this was just addressing, I had shuffled and tuned into this energy, and then the Ace of Cups came out, and so I was like, there was definitely love played a role and a factor into your past life building. But again, I just get this huge energy that like you started with nothing, you worked your way up to something, and then you left with nothing, and you were okay with that, and so you're just coming back to life. I feel like you work and you build riches, but riches don't mean much to you, and they didn't mean much to you in this past life, but you do want the finer things and luxury, and like I said, love, relationships is a very big important role in your connection. So just okay, see, thank you, Spirit. The Ace of Wands came out. So thank you for just confirming. So that wasn't, a leaving thing, and the Queen of Cups at the bottom. So you definitely were Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, particularly Pisces in a past life. And so you just came to kind of build that fire, the passion. I do feel like you definitely have like a soulmate connection here, or a twin flame. Number 2 was certainly very personal. Number 1 was very personal, but in a different way. And I do feel like you've come, pile 3, with more of romantic, with a more romantic kind of view as to why you came, because I feel like through all of your lifetimes, you've come, gone, you've lived and died as a bird, a plane, like you're originally from underwater. Your people, I do feel like, have gone extinct as we've known them. But I just feel like you really came and you've had this longing desire and the kind of this hopeless romantic energy that I'm getting of love. You really want to experience love, working, riches, wealth, sharing your mind, sharing your thoughts, sharing your intuition and your gifts. That's so second nature to you because it's just who you are. Like you could be a psychic, a quote unquote psychic this lifetime, but you're like, this is so typical. This wasn't anything special in my past life from my people. But if I can make money and profit, then I'll go ahead and do that to make it work in this lifetime. But I just feel like you have a way more romantical side to the life that you're trying to curate through this lifetime. But definitely in your past lifetime, love was a huge anchor in that, partnership, companionship. But I really do feel like you were most likely the masculine, actually, with the Emperor being the first card out. So you and your counterpart could have flipped, but I'm certainly picking up that you were a masculine in a past life. Yeah, and maybe you're tired this life if you came as a feminine. You're like, now it's your turn to do it to your masculine. Because when you are like from one soul or from one being, then they step into masculine roles sometimes. Then you step into the masculine, feminine energy, whatever. You can kind of tack off, because when you're a part of the same soul, it's pretty interchangeable. It doesn't matter in what gender or form you come in. You're still going to be doing the same dance. So that's really what I'm getting with that. So you got a little extra cards. Let's look into your talents and your talents and interest. So wow, the Hangman, again, more Pisces energy. I bent the crap out of that card. Oh, actually, sorry guys, I wanted to keep these kind of organized. Mobby. Yeah, but thanks for clicking over, pile 2. I'm at pile 3. Appreciate you. Okay. So we got the Hanged Man for what were your talents and interests. This is really kind of giving me, of course, I'm getting, like those kind of witch hunt vibes with the Hangman there. I feel like your interest might have been a little different, or you might have been persecuted for your interest in a past life. It doesn't have to be the Knave of Wands, but I am getting that for some of you. The Ten of Pentacles. Like I said, you were all about that money. Again, you might have been, and I can't wait to do, the past life stuff, the past life like karmas. And I was telling the other groups, you might want to just stick with pile 3, right? I wouldn't be surprised if the messages were all interconnected. So you might want to stick with pile 3 for these readings. But I really do feel like you were just about making money. You were about being comfortable and building some type of security. The Five of Pentacles, thank you. I was about to say, I feel like you came from poverty, or you came from not much in your past life. lifetime. And so you really focused on building stability and being comfortable within yourself. You felt very stuck and limited at different points in your past life. By finances, the 8 of Swords. Yeah, so there was like a poverty consciousness. And I just feel like that stems from, yeah, the Hermit. Ooh. I feel like there was a poverty consciousness, honestly, that kind of geared what you did. But you were certainly a seeker and a mystic, and you spent a lot of time alone, kind of going off on your own adventures. But I do imagine in your past life, I don't know why Spirit is just kind of giving me this energy where you were about money, but you didn't really spend time with other people. You were pretty isolated. You wanted security. You know, I'm kind of getting like this image of Jeff Bezos. Where like, you know, he can't really have that many like friends, you know, like you don't become a trillionaire and have friends, right? So I imagine that you could have easily felt that, and you were a trillionaire, and then you didn't have, you know, you certainly didn't have a whole lot of friends, is kind of what I'm getting. I do feel like the outside world kind of gave you a lot of anxiety. I just feel like it probably has something to do with that 10 of Swords, with that partnership that we saw earlier. You might have like lost your partner very early, and so you really only have like that one friend. And then once y'all stop talking, whatever happened there, we'll look into your past life love. I'm sure yours will probably be pretty interesting. But I just imagine that you went very much into hermit mode. Like you enjoyed your riches, but you stayed by yourself. You kept to yourself, but then you probably gave a lot of it away once you ended. But I just feel like you collected information. So what did you do for work? The 3 of Pentacles. You were definitely in charge of other people. I am getting a boss energy. You were definitely in command, and you were a role model for other people. And the Devil card, oh, Capricorn, and the Knight of Pentacles, oh my gosh, you're certainly a workaholic. Oh, such strong masculine energy coming through. The Knight of Pentacles, Capricorn energy is actually feminine. But I just feel like you definitely you were so work oriented. Oh my gosh, you were just like, I'm building this empire, I'm getting money, I'm never gonna go broke again. And that was pretty much your main concern. You were still a spiritual person, right? So I do imagine that you were very spiritual, but you were extremely isolated from the world. I am getting an image of kind of like this ivory castle that you built for yourself. So you built yourself up super duper high, so you wouldn't have to go down anymore. And I get this energy here where you just really kind of, you avoided the world, but like, and what do I mean by that? Like you avoided the world, so you really were somebody who was pretty elusive and hard to capture, especially with this energy. Like you were very much in and out. You were very comfortable in your own energy, but at the same time, you ruled the world. So like you were isolated, but you knew how to make a lot of money to kind of buy yourself the luxury to not have to talk to anybody, you know? I feel like I will say your past life, Pile 3, was extremely lonely. It was very, very, very lonely, but you had money, you know, you had wealth, you had riches. I can't wait to see your karma, because I would assume that you're probably still driven, because I think that your soul is a worker soul. But at the same time, I don't know if you have the same attachment to money as you did before. You know you needed to survive, but it's not in that like such impulsive, unhealthy way as it was before. Is it like I feel like it was before. Yeah, and then we have the King of Swords at the bottom of the deck here, just again confirming that masculine energy and very one-tracked. So we have Virgo again represented here, Pisces, Virgo. So you probably were an eclipse baby. Or I know it's so funny, and typically I pick, you know, I'm a Pile 3er myself, I always say. And like in Vedic astrology, my North Node Rahu is in Virgo, and my K2 is in Pisces. So I'm supposed to be moving towards more Virgo, you know, way of living, and K2 leaving this behind, you know, so it's interesting. So you might have placements like that where you have that access of Virgo, Pisces, because you did the Virgo, you do both, you know. I just feel like you definitely did the whole analytical thing, and you stick to yourself. I feel like you might have been, You might have surrounded yourself with animals in your past life. You might do that in this life too, where you feel a very deep connection to animals. But at the same time, I don't feel like you like people very much, and you certainly didn't care for people in your masculine form. In your feminine form, you might be a lot better at navigating that, but in your masculine form, you do not really talk to people a whole lot. I think that you had like that one love, and that was pretty much it. I don't think that you cared for much. If you're not talking money, I don't want to talk. But you were extremely successful. The 10 of Pentacles. Again, a lot of people looked up to you, but you felt restricted by money. You just felt like money is really what makes the world go round. I need money in order to feel my best self. And so your career was just making money, honestly, hustling any way that you could, but you were certainly a leader in that. So whatever it is that you're choosing to do in this lifetime, and let me see, is there anything, can we get a specific card for career? But I just really get that you made money. Whatever it was that you needed to do to make money, that's what you did. And that was on period. On what? The Knight of Wands. So definitely travel and explore. So I don't feel like you had a very traditional job. You just kind of went by the seam of your pants is kind of what I'm hearing. And it worked out for you. Like, you know, worked out very, very well. But you were certainly a hustler. You built your own empire. I feel like you definitely built your own thing, but it was very lonely. It was extremely lonely, and you were kind of trapped by it. So it's like you built your own glass, your glass palace, and you couldn't walk out of it. Is kind of what I'm hearing. You did suffer a lot of paranoias and insecurities in your past life, because I just think that people are treacherous and you got taken advantage of. And like I said, I do feel like your people, wherever your soul originates from, didn't operate like that. So the world you just really are like violated by the world. We get a lot of like starseed energy, and starseed came up in the second thing. You're not a starseed. It would be the equivalent of a starseed, but like, again, from underwater. Like you're here. Like Earth, I really feel is your home, but it's not in the way that we interact with Earth now is kind of what I'm hearing. And maybe that's why you were so sad in your last lifetimes, and just not necessarily sad, but just like, listen, the way the Earth's set up, it's for making money. So I'm going to make money and then I'm just going to die, because that's what life kind of amounts to now. But you weren't necessarily happy about that. I do feel like with that Hermit card, you spent a lot of time soul searching too. A lot of time soul searching. Okay. And you spent a lot of time on yourself. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm also getting in your most recent lifetime, in that past recent lifetime, I don't know if you were as spiritually conscious as you are now. I think it's always in you because you're psychic, but I think that you just were so focused on just making money. You were like, listen, I've been spiritual, didn't help me. Looks like money is what the people want, so money's what the people is what I'm going to give for the people, you know? It's kind of what I'm hearing. And then let's see, how did you live your life? We're going to look at the Black and White Tarot. I was like, I really don't want this to cut off, so I'm trying to not rush through it at all, but just make sure it doesn't cut off. So how did you live your life? How did Pile 3 live their past life? The 10 of Cups. That's beautiful. Mars and Pisces. The Princess of Swords. The 2 of Pentacles. Yeah, there were a lot of changes. I do feel like... Okay. So... with the 10 of Cups here, you made the most of what you could, you know, like you were as emotionally fulfilled as you possibly could at certain times, but there were a lot of changes that happened, right? You were constantly restarting, moving, doing different things. You could have been nomadic or traveled a lot, especially when you were younger. But I just feel like with the 2 of Pentacles here, there were constant changes that were going on. You were constantly exploring new territories. You were very childlike to some other people, the 8 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. But like I said, I feel like you had to leave it. The Magician card. Again, just confirming all this masculine energy. But I just feel like you really had to learn how to just reinvent yourself over and over and over again to get what you wanted. But you were good at it and you were fine at it, and you didn't necessarily worry about certain things. We got Jupiter and Virgo again, but certainly a perfectionist. Like, you didn't believe in luck in your past lifetime. I don't know if you do this time, maybe to an extent. But you just don't believe in luck. You're like, you got to work for everything that you have. Nothing in this life is free. The Six of Pentacles. So you lived your life in a very giving and generous way. So how did you live your life? And honestly, like a child. Like you had a very childlike innocence about you. And maybe that's why you kind of hid yourself away, because you knew not everybody could be trusted. But for the people who were very close to you, you were extremely generous and you were extremely giving. And like I said, I feel like you built an entire empire for yourself, the Magician card, and then you just gave it away, or you lost it at the very tail end. You're just like, whatever, I don't care. Like you would be the type to have perfect credit and then no credit at all. You know, they're like, whatever. I don't even think credit existed in this past lifetime, but you see what I'm saying? Like you gave out a lot of your riches and your resources. You were extremely generous. And again, the Saturn in Pisces, you were just on this more, it's complex, you know what I'm saying? Like I hope that it doesn't seem like I'm contradicting myself, but it's just like you had a lot of Pisces energy, but you weren't so tuned into it. Like you came in this life probably really trying to affirm what you already know. You know, life is our lifetimes and our karmas and all this other stuff. It's the circle of life. So I do think that you were born into an environment, right, underwater, where that wasn't even a question. Spirituality was just a part of your DNA. And then you guys made it to land, and it was so different from what you were used to. It put you in a shock, and you were like, my God couldn't have possibly wanted this life for me. I couldn't have possibly actually been born in this life. This can't possibly be what God genuinely intended. There is no God if this is the God that is worshipped up here. And so then you turned away from it, but you still kept your spiritual side. There was spiritual lessons with the Saturn in Pisces. Like you had to learn karma about your spirituality. So in this life, you've probably come back and been like, I lost myself in the world. I lost myself in the masculine energy, and I need to retune back into the yin, which is where you can explore your spirituality more often, more in depth than you were able to in your past lifetime, because you were so concerned with being a provider. You just didn't have time. So if you, again, are in this feminine energy, then you're probably really into tarot and really into all of these different things, because you just have time to explore that side of you. When you're a masculine, you're not nearly, you might pick a woman, like your divine counterpart, right? That's why we use that word. When you're the masculine, your divine counterpart is the super psychic one. But when you're the feminine, right, one, you know, then your masculine is the more of the provider type. It's hard to do both, right? You have the Magician, and then you have the High Priestess. Okay, they're different cards, different energy. So in this past lifetime, you were really focused on the Magician side of things. You were focused on manifestation in the tangible. And so that's why probably in this life you're more feminine, regardless of your gender. I hope that I didn't mess that up, but I just feel like you definitely had a lot of Aries energy in your past life. You probably have it in this life too, but it's used differently. With the Foolish Man to the Magician card. So you certainly lived your life being very generous, but you definitely had to leave things. You had a lot of changes. You had to be uprooted. Like you didn't ever stay down for long. Very nomadic. It's kind of what I'm getting to. But generous, a great person to know. And extremely Piscean, just the more masculine version of that. Like I said, you said like nothing is free. Like you just you knew like nothing is free in this life, and you were focused on building as much resources as you possibly could. I can't wait to get into your karma. It'll be so interesting when we do the karma readings. And then how did you die? So let's look at how did you die in your past life. But I feel like in this lifetime that we were tuned into, give or take, you coming as an animal in some parts, but in your last human incarnation and human as we know it incarnation, you certainly were all about that money. Daughter of Pentacles. So how did you die in your past life? How did you die? How did you die? We got the Death card. The Mother of Wands. Ooh, this is interesting. One more. The Ten of Cups. And then we have the Five of Wands at the bottom of the deck. So how did you die? So it's interesting because we had all that masculine energy, and now we have feminine energy. I'm gonna have to take some more cards. Okay, and 3 more flew out. So let's see. Ace of Swords, Eight of Pentacles, 4 Cups. something is telling me that it was kind of done in a very mysterious way. You might have been killed by a woman. Yeah, the daughter of wands here. You actually might have been killed by a woman. Let me get Spirit. What is this, please? And I imagine that this was probably somebody who wanted like your resources or your whatever. Yeah, the Three of Swords to the Ace of Pentacles to the Four of Swords. But here's the crazy part. Here's the really interesting part about your last life is like, I feel like you knew that this person was going to do that. It's kind of like Jesus Judas. Like you knew that they were going to turn on you. You knew that it was going to happen. And so you're just like, I'm ready to go. Like with the Ten of Cups there, you were ready to go. I don't think that you, like I said, like you were very nice and kind on the outside and how you lived your life was very abundantly, but who you were and kind of what you did was so isolated. So I think that you were like ready to go. But I certainly feel like a woman plotted on you in some way, shape, or form. Definitely like a child's mother, but I don't think it was your counterpart person. Or you like, no, I don't think so. I don't think that there's an or. Let me see. Goodness gracious, you got so many extra cards, pile 3, and a whole extra thing. So like, how did you die? The Fool and Temperance and one more. Yeah. The Eight of Swords, the Empress at the bottom of the deck, just confirming it was certainly a woman. A woman had a hand in your demise. And I do feel like it was over resources of some sort. So you probably towards the end of your life, I do think that there was like an overindulgence of some sort with that Temperance card there, and the Fool, you just lived foolishly. And I think somebody took you for everything, and you were okay with that because you were like, everything means nothing, so I'm just gonna enjoy and live my life to the fullest until I freaking die. And then by the time this sword came, this betrayal came, because I do feel like with the Three of Swords it was definitely betrayal came, you're like, whatever, like it's okay, I'll just come back in another lifetime and do this all over again. So that's a really interesting kind of like, how did you die? But that's what shiz. I feel like I'm gonna get a couple more cards. Yeah, this was a very mysterious life. Like all the other ones I felt like I really was able to tune into. Not the Seven of Swords popping up. So that's why I was just like, there were secrets. But I just feel like you were plotted against for sure. The Star card, the Hermit card coming out again, and the Three of Swords. So yeah, I just feel like you were stabbed in the back. Somebody did you dirty. It was a woman for sure. And if you were masculine, maybe you came back as a woman and you don't care for women that much because you're just like, they can be so devious. Like you definitely see the dark side of feminine energy for sure because you've been on the receiving end of it as a masculine. But I feel like you weren't that close to a lot of people, and then somebody that you let close in, they kind of, stabbed you in the back, or quite literally stabbed you with that sword energy there. Like that might be something. They stabbed you with a knife and they wanted to take what you had. So maybe you were robbed in a sense, or you were taken for what you had. And that was what we got at the beginning. I was like, you died with nothing for what it was worth. You gave some of it away. Or maybe your significant other, the wife that you were with, you were giving the money away and she was just like, no, this is mine. And you were like, it's mine. Actually, I worked for it. And then she was just like, I'm going to do what I want. So that's really interesting. So you have to let me know how that resonates. So I don't know if that has any reverberations in this lifetime, but I just feel like you, but it's okay, because the one thing with this is interesting. It's like you didn't die in vain though, with the Star card to the Hermit. Like you didn't die in vain. Even with the Temperance and the Fool card, people knew that like you were murdered, like it was like a thing. Like everybody was like, oh, they took them out, So it'll be so interesting to see your love life past karmas, because I definitely feel like you were killed in a past life by a scorned lover over money and resources and finances, which just makes so much sense because that's what you built your lifestyle on, but then you were betrayed at the end. So I definitely do feel like you have mad trust issues. And if you don't have them quite yet, not to wish this on you, but when you really start making money or you start elevating and having like resources and stuff, you're going to see a lot of traumas and triggers come up surrounding people wanting what you have, and jealousy. I feel like you were really killed out of jealousy, but you were a star. Like people, understood you were probably very wealthy. Like I said, you were wealthy, so you're probably well known. and people felt for you when you passed. But yeah, there's definitely this overarching, this very strong energy of like, you were ready to go. You were okay with it. You were just like, I knew you would do this to me. Because like I said, you were still psychic and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's so fascinating. Different than all the other ones. But I would definitely say that you, out of all the piles, were probably, somebody plotted on you. I don't know if she physically murdered you, but you were certainly plotted on by a feminine energy who wanted what you had, who wanted your resources. So that is what I got for you, pile 3. What a ride. Thank you for joining me. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment down below. Let me know if this resonated. Thank you for clicking over to this video. It was a ride, right? And please follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Instagram. What else? Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Instagram. Of course, my brain is fried at the end of the night. Oh, if you'd like to book a personal reading with me, then you can shoot me an email. And yeah, here's my Cash App card if you would like or are interested in donation and donating to me. Excuse me. Here's my Cash App, the $, capital A, capital B, lowercase EV224. Again, guys, I just appreciate it if you're able to give under no obligation, but $1, $5, and even prayers helps me so much. And yeah, please don't forget to book a personal reading with me. And if Cash App is more your speed, then that link is in the description box below also. But I want to thank you so much, pile 3, from the bottom of my heart. And guys, peace until next time.